The Fringe Podcast, Season 5, Episode 13, Feedback for Through the Looking Glass and What Walter Found There.
This is John Noble, and you're listening to the Fringe Podcast.
Support for the Fringe Podcast is provided by listeners like you and by this week's sponsor, Global Cash Card. Learn how Global Cash Card provides world-class solutions for pay cards, gift cards, per diem cards, flex cards, and more by visiting thefringepodcast.com/Global Cash Card today. Welcome back to the Fringe Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Fox television show.
Back to you.
Back to you. I have no idea. Nothing.
Kelsey Grammer,
Back to you.
the wife on Everybody Loves Raymond, whose name I can't remember.
Okay.
Back to you.
I got nothing. I know her from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
I know him from Cheers and Frasier.
And Periscope Down.
Yeah, yes, that's true. I forgot about that. Wow. Yeah, that's
Patricia Heaton.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyway, no, I have no memory of Back to You.
It was on for a little bit,
Okay, and then it wasn't.
and then it wasn't.
Yep. Well, let's talk about some Bunsen burners. We got again a lot of feedback for this week's episode, and honestly, I put in a little bit more than we would normally do because I couldn't make up my mind. And Clint's probably going to hate me for it, but I know you'll love me for it. So, and we still didn't get it all in. And if you didn't get your feedback into this week's podcast, I'm sorry. You're just too many of you that are just too awesome, and we can't fit everybody's awesomeness in our podcast.
Yes. But your awesomeness has a much higher probability of being put in if it's recorded instead of typed.
It does have a higher probability if it's recorded
right.
instead of typed.
That's true.
Yep. But we did get some Bunsen burners type it into the chat
That's
room.
right.
Let's start with those.
All right. Walter Mates do. I assume that's supposed to be alternates do.
Probably, yeah.
Unless they're from Australia, then it could be like
It's an N, by the way.
Walter Mate. Hello, Walter Mate. Walter Mates do. It's the Wiggles.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. You gave it 10 Nike. Just resist it. Skyscraper ads.
Nice.
Do you suppose, Peter, he's got those new abilities. I'm thinking it must be the shoes.
That's probably it. They're pumps.
It's got to be the
It's
shoes.
the Reebok pumps. You remember those?
Yes. Do you remember the ad, the Nike ad?
Yes, of course I do.
Got to be the shoes.
Yes,
Must be the shoes.
I remember those.
Okay.
But I went to Reebok
Spike Lee.
because I liked those shoes the best.
Lame. Gimmick.
Yep. Oh, and there's no doubt about that. Total gimmick. But it
I
made
like the
me
ones-
think that I could run and jump faster.
Yeah, the tennis shoes that had the pump that was the tennis ball.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
or the basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said tennis ball. But yeah, anyway. All right, heed, obey, serve, pie. I like the serve pie part. Gave it 9.6955. I like what he did there. Help me, Walter Bishop. You're my only hope, even though I know Kung Fu. That's great.
It's a nice little combo there.
Oh, yeah.
Lots
got a
of
little
high
bit of
ratings
everything,
here. I'm definitely the odd man out on this episode.
And you're just the odd man out, really.
Little Hill with the L's as ones, except for the first, which was capitalized. Gave it 10. I know what you're thinking. Because right now I'm thinking the same thing. Why, oh, why didn't they take the blue pill? Another Matrix reference.
It is. Joe Ugg 117 gave it, I wonder if that's like a University of Georgia reference. 9.5 old lady pink eye. She was like a Borg looking thing.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Poor lady.
Yeah.
She's got the pink eye. Looked like the Terminator.
Yeah,
Remember
a
they
little
ripped
bit.
away Terminator's face?
But then it looked like it had like different lenses that could rotate around like when you go to see the eye doctor.
Yeah, that's true. That would be cool. Carla, just Carla, gave it 9.5 Lying Peters.
Zeppelin Driver gave it 9.5 blue channels of observer vision.
Waiting for Godot. Gave it 9.8. Dance Steps to Another World.
Oh, man. That's so funny. Waiting for Godot was in the chat room on Friday, just giving me all kinds of grief. Yeah. Anyway,
that's funny.
it's all in good fun. A Fleet Alex gave it 10 Olivias, barring, I think it's supposed to be burying her soul to Peter.
Barring her soul.
She's
Peter, you're not
you're
allowed to have any access to my
Sorry,
soul.
No access to my soul. That might be good.
Yeah, Laura HT Dot gave it 10 out of 10. 8 ball in the corner pocket universe.
Nice. Serenity in all gave it 9 Walter's Ballroom Dancing Time Warp. Love
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Momentum Deferred gave it 9.5 Cha Cha Pocket Universe Slides.
Penny gave it 9 Wonderland Verse.
The Unibeefer gave it 10 Red Shirt Cecils.
Melchizedek gave it 9 Walters doing the time warp again. For reals, yo.
Jenny from Ohio gave it 9.5 Trips Across the Pocket Universe.
Really? You sing that but not doing the time warp?
Limitless, undying love. What?
The time warp. Isn't
Time
that from like is
What?
it
There's no such thing.
Little Shop of Horrors or is it Rocky Horror?
Picture show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know that song.
One of the two.
I know. Ba shakalaka laka mo. Everybody do the Walter. No.
Rocky Horror is what they're telling me in
Oh.
the chat room. All right. You did Wilma. You did Jenny, so I'm going to do Linda is Lost. 10 non-existent irrelevancies. No one is irrelevant, not even Cecil the seasick monster.
Vilma gave it 9.9 Steps to the Pocket Universe.
The Ozone Layer gave it 10 out of 10. Peter's lying to Olivia about the tech in his neck.
Janice LG gave it 9. We are losing Peters.
Expendable Gerbil gave it 9.5 red shirt tenants.
Megs and Pa gave it 9.0 Observer Works Progress Administration Murals.
All right. Boston Red Vines gave it 9.08. My husband would never leave me in another universe. No doubt. We didn't even talk about that.
TJAM gave it 10 Peter senses tingling.
Better with Bacon gave it 7.6. I know what you did last episode.
Little Fringy gave it 10 of Walter's disappearing dances.
Yogabon gave it 9.5. Pocket universes in Worcester.
You know what's really funny about that, Daryl?
What's that?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 O's in Worcester.
Apparently.
It's Worcester.
Actually, it's 2 words. It's woo stir.
Yeah. All right. V-Man Funk gave it 9.5 slower observers.
Scaper gave it 8. Peter is seeing the Matrix.
Mary Lee gave it 10. I got something for you in my pocket universe.
New Dana gave it 8. Neck breaking Peters.
Ducky is Lost gave it 8.5. Neo wears Peter Bishop pajamas.
Boston Red Vine's husband gave it 9.5. It looked a lot like Lowell, Massachusetts to me.
Rob V gave it 8. I'm lying. It was a 9.
Direct 6955 gave it 9. Inner Visions.
Totally Addicted gave it 7. What about Astrids?
What about Astrid?
How do I leave you alone?
I'm surprised you didn't do something with Inner Visions there and make it into Double Vision.
Why do we leave you alone?
Tony Caselli gave it 9.8. Borg Landlords.
I've lost my place here, Daryl.
You're at Clark and R.
Clark and R gave it 9.5. Cecil, we barely knew you, but we saw your death coming immediately.
That is true.
This one is for my homie, Cecil.
Okay. No One's Minion gave it 9.75. Blowing my mind, one pocket universe at a time.
Are you highlighting this and unhighlighting it?
I am. I'm making them bigger so we can read the
Okay,
names.
that's
more
that's
easily.
good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trish Cape Cod gave it 10. Walter's dancing, and a Peter who is scary.
Sing it, Clint.
What am I singing?
Maybe Dancing on a Ceiling tune? Walter's dancing Peter's scared. I don't know the tune. I thought I did.
It is. That's it.
Singing.
You got it. Sing it, Daryl.
No. No. Blue Eagle gave it, actually, this is from Red Eagle, 9.5 toy lizards sitting on cars.
Okay.
Right.
Kaylina gave it 9.5 glyph numbered apartments.
Cortexatron gave it 10 missing observer kids.
Lemerck gave it 9 dance party to a pocket universes.
Foxy Fringe Chick gave it 9 don't change Peter.
Don't ever change. The Lost Passenger gave it 8.5 acceptable losses.
Chantal New York gave it 8 brilliant Olivia's figuring out Peter.
I'm Cyrus 2 gave it 9.5 MC Escher apartments.
Lisa 2 gave it 9.95 Peter calls Walter dad, a Fringe red shirt moment again.
Banana Cream 3.14 gave it 9.75. There's a lot of dots in there. If you only saw one set of footprints, it's because I was carrying you into a pocket universe. That's nice.
Make Pinot War?
Make pie, not war, Daryl.
Pinot War is what it looks like to me.
It's Pinot. It's a type of grape they use for wine.
Well, that's what my first thought was. That's what I was trying to butcher. I wasn't trying to butcher pie.
Pinot Grigio.
Yeah. 7.9. I've got one hand in my pocket universe and the other one's fighting an observer.
Blue Eagle gave it 9.5. Let's do the time warp again.
Let's do the time warp again. You don't know that song?
This is how we do it.
No.
This is how we do it.
Security
no,
Nerdette.
I don't know that song. Sorry.
Yeah, well. 9.1. The episodes are moving way too quickly.
That is not true at all. Fringe Peak gave it 9.75. Peter is become death, the destroyer of observers.
Sorry.
Thank you, Oppenheim.
You just totally invalidated Security Nerdette.
I'm sorry. I was just joking, of course.
Hey, speaking of invalidating, Zero Fights gave it 9.2036 neck snaps.
Whoa. F Ring E.
Is that like Ferengi?
Ferengi? What is Ferengi?
Isn't that something from the Next Generation?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm pretty sure.
What's Next Generation?
Shut your face hole.
What's the face hole? Ferengi gave it 9.5 Peter Piper plucked an observer's head. Ow. Tring.
Deep Space Nine is what we're getting on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could picture the guy. I just couldn't think of what one he was from. Where are we at here? Hellraisin Brazen gave it 10 Matrix coding out of 10.
Marf Michael A.
Michaela.
I don't think that's Michaela. Marf Michael A. Give it 9.5 dimensional dance steps.
Oh boy, what am I going to do with you? The Other Dean gave it 9.8 Walter's Waltzing. Clint's having headphone issues.
Yeah, that's what we'll tell our listeners. 9 Walter's waltzing. 8 Peter's observing. 7 lives a lying. 6 Astrid staying. 5 at posters. 4 creepy bald kids. 3 Donalds. 2 bags of rocks. And a William Bell without a hand.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Monarch gave it 9.8 rabbit holes.
Oh, the chat room is loving that too. Where are we at? You just did rabbit holes?
Yes.
Okay. Star Chase, is that where I'm at? No.
You should be on Top Army Sarge because we've already been.
Top Army Sarge gave it transmitting on 9.5 megahertz.
Tangier 14 gave it 9.8 pocket protector universes.
Nice. Brentwood Eric gave it 9 observer transistor radios.
Hey Liv gave it 9.5 trips down the rabbit hole.
Star Chase gave it 10 CBK resurfaces.
Sort of. Bad Wobot gave it 9.5 twisted transistors.
Ardith. Hi, Ardith. Gave it 8.5 jump scares.
Lost to Fringe gave it 9.5 hallways in a pocket universe.
Dave H. Calgary gave it 8 mini universes not found on Orion's belt. Hopefully, I'm not the only person who follows that one.
Well, I'll say that I didn't follow it.
I didn't follow it either.
Nightstar gave it 8.5 interdimensional Daves. Interdimensional hokey pokies.
And finally, Denef gave it... Oh, we got one more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are we doing?
I'm screwing it up. That's what we're doing. Denef gave it 8.5 missing observer youngins. And finally...
Zoe from Alaska gave it 8.2. Why is this Peter Storylines?
Alrighty. Well, thanks to everybody who sent in the Bunsen Burner. If you want to submit your Bunsen Burner, join us in the live chat room Friday night as Fringe is airing in your time zone if you're in the continental United States. Right after the episode is over, put your Bunsen Burner in the chat room, and that's how it gets put into the show. All right, let's get started with our feedback for this week. Clint, our first feedback is really short, but really pretty stinking awesome.
Okay.
And I'll just play it, and then we'll talk.
It says PJ in here. Is that PJ Harvey, the musician?
Not quite. It's
Okay.
another PJ.
Okay.
My name's PJ Pesh, and I'm calling from Los Angeles, California, in the U.S. of A. And I'm calling specifically about the Fringe Podcast, and as the director of an origin story and a longtime fan of the show, I was overwhelmed with the amazing response to the episode. What a great time it was working with Josh and Anna and John and everybody. And I'm really excited to hear the fans on the Fringe Podcast. Okay. Bye.
How cool is that?
Whoa. That's awesome.
So PJ Pesh, we gave him kudos last week in our podcast. Like we try to give the directors and writers every week. So apparently he listened to the show and called us.
That's cool.
That is so cool. I don't know if he's going to listen to this or not, since this isn't his episode and it's the feedback or not. But PJ, if you are listening, call us in if you're interested in chatting some more on the podcast. We'd love to have you on, especially during the hiatus that's coming up. We'd love to chat with you some more about your directing the episode of Fringe, because we loved it. It was a great episode.
Oh, it was one of my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
It was a really good episode. Good work,
Yeah.
PJ.
That's right. So thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Very, very awesome. All right, let's continue with feedback. And this one comes in from Invalidated Zero Fights.
Which is no less amazing than having the director call in from last week.
Maybe a little.
It is. It's Zero Fights.
Okay, you're right. Maybe a lot.
Okay.
Hey Clint and Daryl, finally, my first feedback for this season. I got a suspicion that Donald is William Bell. In this episode, he does sound like Leonard Nimoy, and at this point I am convinced that William Bell is not an enemy, but he is actually helping our team against the observers. Besides, who else knows about the Pocket Universe but none other than the equally intelligent William Bell? And I won't be surprised that September puts Bell as a backup safe plan, since he knows that Walter is an easy and likely target of Widmark. But of course, the main question here is how William Bell get out of that amber, or maybe that is irrelevant because Bell already did put everything into places before they ambered themselves, and maybe that is the reason why Walter is angry with Bell, because Bell kept this as a secret from Walter. So, how will they now interpret the complicated physics plan with the bacon factor in it? I wish Samwise comes back to help, but I highly doubt that will happen. Perhaps the answer will be on William Bell's head, of whom they will have to hunt down in the next few scavenger hunting episodes. Anyone here is tired of hide-and-seek game of Widmark and the Fringe team? Because I am definitely annoyed with it. In this timeline where it is supposed to be years ahead of Redverse timeline before, the observers failed to use and block communication devices. I also think it is ridiculously stupid for the observers failing to find Walter and the others in a public transport. So, for the past few seasons, we made Olivia into a superheroine. Now, it is time for Peter to become superhuman? Come on, did the writers just dump the whole Cortexiphan idea out of the window and reduce Olivia into an emotional lady figure of the team? This got to be very frustrating. As much as I want to see our Fringe team using devices of the olden days, but did the writers forgot what happened when you create a Fringe event? Yep, that's right, we poke holes to the Redverse and cause their universe to degrade. Oh well, and speaking of consequences, I'm guessing Mr. High IQ Peter Bishop will be the reason why the observers are here in the first place. He is a paradox in the mission of destroying these observers to avenge the death of his daughter. He will go to the future and destroy their world, and maybe not really directly. Maybe something like Peter turned a wormhole into a black hole. Oh hey, that is now why observers have to take over this world, and that is why they hate so much these pesky hairy humans. What I want to get out of this season, the origin story of September and how the Observer Science team is formed. So this is Zero Fights. You can invalidate me, but you also know I am right.
I love Zero Fights sign off. You know, Zero Fights brings up a good point, and I've heard this echoed elsewhere.
Yes.
I think that there are a lot of people out there that are disappointed with Olivia's role this season.
I've seen that in some comments on some blogs and stuff for sure.
Which I have to say I agree.
And our blog is one of them. I've seen it on, as people comment on there.
You know, when the show started out, the pilot episode, of course, you know, Peter was an ancillary character, and the focus has kind of shifted throughout the 4 seasons to this relationship between Peter and Olivia, right?
Right.
Where they both have kind of equal footing. Olivia has this Cortexiphan ability, so it's still kind of about Olivia. It's like Olivia and the Bishop family, right?
Right.
If you had to give it a title, it's Olivia and the Bishop family. And now it's Peter.
Oh, definitely.
Peter and all of the, you know, everyone else has kind of been relegated to a supporting character.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's got to be frustrating for somebody that has tuned in. And I won't say that I necessarily tuned in to see what happened to Olivia. But that's certainly one of the things that got me interested in the show, just this really interesting position that she was in. But now it's like she's just kind of there. I think Astrid got more screen time than she did.
I don't know about that, but I mean, she definitely is not the lead that she had been, particularly last season. I mean, it was all about Olivia last season, but this doesn't bother me that much. And I understand that it bothers other people, and I understand why it bothers other people. But for me, you know, Josh Jackson, the Peter character, is getting to be brought to the forefront like never before. You know, she was the main focus for a time, and now he is, and I don't have an issue with that. I don't know why it has to be all about one character all the time. Now, if you want to argue, hey, why can't it be more balanced all the time? I can go for that. But if he's in more of a lead role this season than she was, or than she is, and all that stuff, that doesn't bother me one way or the other. I'm liking the show. I don't care who's in the lead. You know, so I'm okay with it. But I understand that not everyone feels that way. They have an affection about a specific character, and they want to see that character more in the forefront. Or in this case, they feel like Olivia, the character, is not what she used to be because the Cortexiphan is gone. I get that too.
Right.
You know, but I'm okay with what's going on.
Okay. The other comment he made, which I thought was pretty good, he mentioned the hairy humans.
Yes.
You know, and if you think about, you know, how we as humans have lost body hair over time.
Okay.
You know, it makes sense that they would portray the observers as hairless.
Okay.
Just because they're supposedly more advanced than us, right?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Although they have no emotions, but they think that's what makes them better.
That's right. We'll see.
Yeah. He also talked about Belle being Donald. We'll find out. You threw out that theory.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we'll find out for sure.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to Dave.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Dave calling from Wisconsin about the Fringe Podcast. I just listened to the feedback podcast for the most recent episode, and I've noticed a lot of things in regards to, most people seem to think that this tech that Peter's put in the back of his head is going to, destroy him or, make him a superhero or what have you. But one thing that we forget is that Fringe, and I know, Daryl, you've said this a lot of times, is that Fringe is a love story. I think that Olivia's love for Peter will save him eventually over time. And if he's going to be the forerunner of the observers, that means that he will have love in his heart, and as he develops into the observers, they will also have love in their heart. Granted, this is something that September has said they did not fully understand, and it's probably because they never had it before. But now that Peter is going to develop into the observers, or the future observers, they will have this. Just my crackpot theory. Thought I'd lay it out there and see what happens. And I'll also take a banana bet on that if anybody's up for it. Take care, guys. Love the podcast. Can't wait for the next one. Bye.
Wow, that's pretty risky, throwing it out there on a banana bet.
Yeah, I'm not willing to take a banana bet on it. I think he's wrong. I like the theory. This is what I think. With any theory, if it's creative, and plausible, I support it. But I don't want to take a banana bet on it. Do you?
I'd feel bad making him eat bananas. No.
So Peter will be or if I understood him right, Peter will be the origin of the observers, but he'll have the capacity for love and therefore change the observers? What we know to be the observers?
That's the theory.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't either. I mean, I like the idea of the observers having the capacity for emotion and feeling.
Yeah.
It made me think of something else. Remember the Brown Betty episode? What was it that they were... what was the power struggle over in Brown Betty?
His heart.
His heart.
Yeah.
And how did they solve it at the end of the episode?
I don't remember.
They split the heart in two.
Yeah.
The glyphs for this week's episode were split.
Yeah.
What if somehow Peter's able to split? I don't know what that means. I was just thinking about that as he was talking. It may mean nothing. I don't know. I have to think that through a little bit more.
No, that's a good point. That's something I thought about earlier this week about Brown Betty, about how it's all kind of going back to Brown Betty because it was a mechanical piece that Peter had to have to survive. And if you remember right, when Peter was a child, and I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he was really sick, right?
Yes.
And some sort of rare genetic disease.
I don't know. The bird flu keeps coming to mind, but I don't remember what the bird flu tie-in was.
Help us out, Bunsen burners. For some reason, I was thinking it was genetic.
Okay.
If it is genetic, that may mean that he has some unique genetic code that is causing all these weird things we see with the observers.
Okay.
Which could give credence to
Clearwater?
To Clearwater Revival or Dave's theory, whichever you want.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dave, for calling in, and we'll find out if your theory holds true or not. Let's listen to Kristen.
Hi, this is Kristen, a.k.a. Serenity and All, leaving feedback for the Fringe Podcast. And yes, I'm doing it by this voice tab thing again. This was rather a bizarre episode for me, and I could certainly see how Peter thought it could be one of Walter's hallucinated trips when they were in the Pocket Universe. To me, however, this whole episode seemed like a ballad of sorts. I can't explain it, but with the way the episode flowed and with the music being fantastic and just spot on, in my opinion, it just seemed very much like a ballad. I've also heard a few people online mention that not much happened in this episode, yet I really felt a lot did happen this episode. I felt we received quite a bit of information. We had some throwbacks to other seasons, and yes, we got a pretty kick-ass Matrix-style ending. I also found it interesting that Walter did not seem to fully embrace his old self subconsciously until he was in the Pocket Universe. Once he was in the Pocket Universe, it seemed that the old self just overtook him. And in regards to Peter, it seems that this new self with the tech in his head seemed to overtake him once he was in the Pocket Universe. When Olivia and Peter find Walter, the exchange between Walter and Peter seemed very odd and off to me. It was very intense in terms of their attitude and demeanor, not their words, but of how they were seeing each other. It's as if Walter can't hide his old self from Peter, and Peter can't hide his new self from Walter. I also believe that Olivia knows something is up with Peter, and if she didn't know before, she suspects it from the moment he so confidently got them back to the way to cross back over out of the pocket universe. I think this was further confirmed when Peter told them to go onto the monorail, and even there at the end when they looked at each other, something seemed off. The looks on her face tell it all in these situations. Or perhaps when she looked into his eyes, she knew it wasn't him. Haha, I just had to throw that in there for you. On the monorail, I have to wonder if Peter actually read Walter's mind, or perhaps in the pocket universe he read Cecil's mind. When Peter and Walter had the tremendous emotional exchange on the monorail, Peter told Walter that Cecil was the cause of his own problems, as he was the one that broke into the apartment and got caught in the light bomb. Walter never told any of them this. Walter simply said that Cecil was collateral damage blown in by an explosion or something similar. If Peter is reading minds, I can only imagine what he'll get from Olivia's mind. I see a Peter that's becoming drunk on the power and arrogant, just like Walter said he himself did not want to return to being. It's as if the new Peter is kind of turning into the old Walter. Walter's sitting there telling Peter who he does not want to become, all the while that is who Peter is becoming. It should be an interesting next few episodes. Anyway, I appreciate it. I have no fancy signing off. Just know that you'll probably get an email next time. Thank you. Bye.
All right, Kristen, thank you. And thank you for sending in voice feedback this time.
She did via SpeakPipe.
Via sound, via voice tag.
The tab on the
voice
website.
tab.
Yeah, the
voice
SpeakPipe.
tab.
Yep.
Sound pipe or speech cloud or whatever it's called.
All right. I'll be honest with you. I went back and looked at the transcript. In fact, I have it pulled up right here. Peter says to Walter,
fancy pants.
You are not responsible for that man's death. He died 20 years ago, the night he broke into that apartment and the light bomb went off. If it wasn't for your pocket, he would have died then and there. So unless something got cut from the episode, we never saw Walter tell Peter that that man was in the pocket because he had broken into somebody's apartment. So did Peter read that information from Walter's mind or from Cecil's mind?
Or could have just happened off camera.
It could have. It could have. But it's definitely an interesting catch, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a really good catch.
That totally eluded me, so kudos to you, Kristen, for that. Anything else she said you want to make note of there?
Just, I thought her comment was pretty funny that Olivia looked into Peter's eyes and knew it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Knew it wasn't him.
That was great. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was great. And Peter definitely looks like he's becoming Walter. The whole idea of being a better man than your father right now does not look like it's going to be the case.
He's going to be a lesser man than his father.
Yeah.
He's going to be Miller Lite of fatherhood.
And Walter's going down
great,
the dark path, too, to becoming what he once was.
I know.
Yeah.
Although I think there's hope for Walter.
I think there's hope for both of them.
I don't. I think Peter's gone.
No, I don't. I don't think so.
Peter's gone to the dark side.
Yes, he has. But even Anakin came back.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He was standing there in holograph form with Obi-Wan and Yoda. He came back.
Yeah, real Anakin was. Not Hayden Christensen and
Don't get me
Anakin.
started on that. Just saying, he came back
Ridiculous.
from the dark side, even though it was on his deathbed. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. After a movie's been out for 30 years. Although it probably hasn't been that long.
No, it has, probably. 83, right? For the
Was it?
for Jedi.
I thought it was later than that.
I don't think so.
I saw it in 86
Yeah.
in the theater.
Either way, it's been 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
25 years at least.
Yeah, at least 25. Anyway. So, thank you, Kristen, so much for sending that in. Really good stuff. I loved what she said, too, about the about looking into his eyes. And I
Yes.
think she's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here to Lana.
Hi, this is Lana. I'm calling from Lansing, Michigan, and tonight's episode was riveting. It was excitement. It gave me some answers, and we're still wondering why there's not any female observers. And that thing that Peter has in him, Muhammad Ali, all in one punch. Woo! It was so good. and the vortex, it's just so exciting. Please do not go off the air. Thank you.
I don't think there's anything we can do about it not going off the air. A decision's been made.
That's right. Hopefully they won't cut it before we get our final episode.
Oh my goodness!
Can you imagine the Fox revolt?
I might not ever watch
Well,
Fox
we decided
again.
to rerun. Pick a show.
Firefly.
Anything I say is going to make somebody mad.
Yeah, even Firefly.
Yeah.
She talked about no female observers, and that's something that hopefully we'll get the answer to at some point.
Yeah, it's something that somebody brought up in the chat room too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when we're sitting down with Joel at Comic-Con, somebody brought that up and said, "Why are there no female observers?" And he said, "You're absolutely right. It is for a reason, and we're going to find out this season."
I think you might be right. I've heard that somewhere. I'm not sure if it was at the Comic-Con conversation or not.
Yeah.
Or for something I read somewhere. But yeah, it seems like that's something we've heard.
Yeah.
Does it point to all the observers being manufactured?
I think that they're cloned or manufactured or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they were cloned, then technically they should all look the same.
They look pretty close to the same.
But they're not like an Agent Smith.
Well, no, they aged though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Windmark and September look completely differently, even if they're aged.
Maybe they have to have some tiny variations in their genetic code.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
But I think they're manufactured in some way. Like, I don't know, shapeshifters? And I need to clarify, I don't think that observers can shift their shape. So it's really a large misnomer that I'm throwing out there every time I throw that out there. What I mean is
shift
that
their position.
They are a created hybrid being by William Bell, like the shapeshifters were.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Lana, for sending that in. Let's move on to Lou.
Hi, Clinton Darrell. This is Lou Sitzma, a.k.a. Old Darth on Twitter. I just wanted to drop a line and say I'm loving your podcasts. I think the fans are sending in some really great comments this season, as they usually do. It's great to hear so many new users with your SpeakPipe widget. That's pretty cool, and I'm using it myself. But the purpose of my voicemail is I just wanted to leave some thoughts for the listeners in terms of, because of Edda's death, everybody is expecting a reboot of the season to take place. And I don't think that's going to happen, and I want to give a couple of reasons why I don't think that's going to happen. And really, we don't have to look any further back than Season 4, which is where everybody was expecting a reboot to take place. But they worked the story so that the characters that it was important for to remember the previous seasons, Olivia specifically, did remember it, and worked around for the rest of the characters to bring them probably closer together than they've ever been before. And one of the reasons that I believe that they don't reset timelines is that for Season 4 and now for Season 5, if they did that, then basically everything that the characters are going through during those seasons would become meaningless. So Fringe will make what's happening in this season stick. Edda's death will stick, but it does set up a possible redemption point for Walter, and I don't think there's going to be a reset this season either, but I wouldn't be surprised because Walter still needs to find a redemption point for himself, and I would not be surprised if by the end of the season we see that Walter sacrifices himself to stop the invasion, and at the same time he's able to return to Peter and Olivia in 2036, the young Edda from the park, and that would make this Season 5, everything that's happened in it, stick, and it would also make Edda's death even more poignant, and Walter's sacrifice to restore a young Edda to Peter and Olivia. It would just put a nice bow on the season. So that's the way I expect the season to play out, and if you think this is too spoilers and you want to hold on to it for a later podcast, that's cool. Just mark down the date, November 9th, 2012. This is how I think the season's going to play out. Keep up the great work. Loving the podcast. Take care. So long, and scene.
Well, it's not spoilery if it's not based on spoiler. I mean, you could be dead on, but that doesn't make it a spoiler. So
right.
I don't think there's any spoiler warning needed on that.
That's true. You know, and Lou mentioned the fact that he didn't think they would reset the timelines because it would make everything they went through meaningless.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened at the end of Season 3 and beginning of Season 4.
Right.
Right?
And I think he's right. And I the more I've talked about it with Courtney and Jason quite a bit this week, and all of us would be really unsatisfied if it turned out to a reset in the park. And I know I've said that that's where I think it's going. That doesn't mean I hope that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Frankly, I like his theory. Basically that Walter sacrifices himself and through that finds a way to bring them Etta from the past into 2036. So let's say observers are done. They've defeated the observers, and here's your daughter that you get to raise and have a family now.
Yes, but Peter she's going to get raised by robot observer Peter?
Nah, Peter will be split. He'll take the observers into a parallel universe and stay with Olivia. I'm obviously joking, but I don't know. I think Peter's okay. I think there's redemption for him.
I think Peter has to die, and I think he has to die in 1984.
Okay. Do you think that Walter will die before the end of the season?
I think Walter might die before the end of the season, but it won't matter.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to get our time reset.
Okay.
Back to the 80s.
I hope you're wrong on that. The other thing, Lou mentioned his podcast. They use SpeakPipe. If you're looking for another Fringe podcast, we recommend Lou's. His is a great podcast. He's a great guy and a great podcaster. He did several of the Summer Rewatch podcasts with us, and his is the Fringe Benefits Incorporated podcast. Check it out over at fringetelevision.com. Our podcast is listed over there, as are many of the other Fringe podcasts. And again, look for the Fringe Benefits Incorporated podcast.
You know, Daryl, there is another option.
Uh-huh.
That they're all already dead.
They're going to meet up in a church? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not.
I don't know how you could possibly know that, Clint.
Know what?
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
That
they
you outed yourself. You just outed yourself.
This could be like 2036 could be purgatory.
Uh-huh.
And the observers could be like demons, and they're all already dead.
Okay. Probably not.
Okay.
All right. Let's listen to one more, and then we'll read some. This one comes in from, if I understood it right, it's from Sunny.
This is Jenny in San Diego, and I'm calling regarding the Fringe podcast and about this week's episode, Through the Looking Glass. I thought it was a great episode. I think it meandered a little bit in the middle, but the ending was wonderful. And I'm going to be succinct this time because I rambled horribly last time. So I'm just going to put my one major theory out there. And I think that the way they're going to save Peter is they're going to use Nina Sharp and her resources to get that chip out of his neck. Because I don't know if the writers realize this, but if you mess with the brain stem, basically Peter would become a vegetable garden. But, you know, this is TV. But anyway, that's how I think it's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to have to be, like, overpowered by Olivia and Walter and Astrid, or he'll realize his humanity is slipping away. But I think Nina will be there, and I think that's going to be her major role in saving the world. So that's it for this week. Thanks, guys. Stay fringy.
A vegetable garden. I like it.
That's right. Not just a vegetable,
but a garden.
That's right.
Hey, there's some positive out of it. He'll be growing fruits and feeding people.
Vegetables, Daryl. They're not fruits.
Sorry. Thank you. Boy, I say the dumbest things sometimes. Okay, so...
At least you don't do it in the Science of Tomorrow segment.
Well, that's true. I'm not...
You're not up to my level.
I don't have
of
enough
epic
hubris
failing.
to think that I could take on a segment like that. She says that Nina will come to the rescue and save Peter. So she thinks there's hope for Peter. I think
like
that's a
that.
pretty reasonable,
I think
idea.
so. You know, this is spoilery. So close your ears for the next 3 seconds. But somebody posted pictures online of next episode being filmed.
Oh, okay.
And there's nothing that you could see, but Nina was in that episode.
Oh, cool. It's about time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've been staying pretty spoiler-free this season.
I have too, for the most part.
I did get a picture I saw on Twitter this week of an observer standing on the sidewalk. That was pretty spoilery. I haven't seen any of that this season.
There are observers in this season?
What?
Whoa, we're finally going to get to see them.
Yeah. All right, let's read some here. This first one is going to come in from, I don't know a name. They didn't give us a name, and the email address was just an email address, so I'm not sure who to attribute this to.
All right, email address.
All right. Says, I'm going to say first what I should say last. This just fits in with these wonderful Lewis Carroll books. Nothing makes sense where Alice goes, nor should it with Fringe. The very first time that Alice in Wonderland was put into film was a 1903 silent film produced by Cecil Hepworth. There is only a partial copy left, and it can be seen on YouTube. Amazing. By the way, I watched it last night. It was amazing. I couldn't get the sound to work, though.
It's probably a silent film, Daryl.
Yes, I know she said that, but I still thought there'd be some audio. It was silent. As a lover of words, I'm an English major in a previous life. Clint's banging his head on the microphone. Let's see here. There is no more fun than reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and its sequel, Through the Looking Glass, and What Alice Found There. They are separate stories but share many characters. Alice features changing sizes as a major plot device. The 1903 movie was loved for its special effects, showing Alice growing small and large, and says we've come a long way. And I will say that was pretty cool the way they did that in the YouTube. Go check it out on YouTube. It's great.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Looking Glass's main plot device is changes in time and space. The two stories are mirrors of each other. We've seen a lot of mirrors in Fringe. Alice is spring, Looking Glass is winter. Alice is card games, Looking Glass is chess. Chess, very Fringe. Alice starts with the White Rabbit, not exactly an uncommon theme, followed by the Hall of Many Doors. In the hall was a single table. In our hall of many doors was a single chair. She then cries and cries until there is a river of tears. Makes me think of Olivia. In Looking Glass, we meet the rabbit whose clock is running backwards, and then the Jabberwock whose writing is all askew and must be read in a mirror. And the Bizarre Observer, Sanskrit, possibly. Alice is a flower, possibly a white tulip. The Red Queen is able to run at amazing speed, often showing up before she left. Maybe those speedy observers? Alice has to use a train to get across the chessboard, the monorail. The White Queen remembers things before they happen. Many characters reflect Fringies. There are just too many to go into, so I'll stick with only two. At the tea party, we have the March Hare. In Britain, the rabbits begin acting strange in the month of March, the beginning of breeding season, when there are a lot of disagreements among the boys. Thus the phrase, mad as a March hare. This is Walter. The other major attendant is the Mad Hatter. In Carol's time, hatters used mercury to cure the felt for the hats, and often went a bit odd due to their exposure to the mercury. After seeing the observers take much attention to placing their hats just so on their heads, question, do the observers have to have their hats on to move about in their extraordinary ways? They are like the old cowboys whose hats never come off no matter the fight. So I see Walter, the March Hare, versus the Mad Hatter, the observers, with Peter as the catalyst. This is close to being my favorite episode ever. I'm trying to figure out how to get the Cheshire Cat into the story, or as Alice says, I've seen a cat without a grin, but I've never seen a grin without a cat. Excellent feedback. Wonderful
like
synopsis there, and comparison of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass and what Alice found there with Fringe.
Well, I don't know if you remember the promos we got from season 3. Were all Alice in Wonderland related, I thought.
Yes, they were. They had the hole and all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
That was season 3.
Yeah. Very
Good
cool.
stuff. Thank you so much.
Very, very cool.
You going to take the next one? Would you like me to take it?
I will take it. And that came in from Linda's Lost, by the way.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, she said so in the chat room.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Linda. Excellent feedback.
All right. Give me a second here.
You all right over there?
Yes. I signed out of YouTube.
Oh, and it signed you out of the Google Doc.
Yes.
Yep, because they're both owned by Google.
They want to track every single thing that I do.
Yes, they do.
All right, this one comes in from Mark in Manchester, England. He gets it in the correct order, saying, "Hi, Clint and Daryl. I've been listening to your podcast for a while and finally decided to send some feedback. I've just watched the last 2 episodes back to back to get caught up on Fringe. I like the way that the show is weaving through the changes in Peter now that he's got Observer Tech, with the changes in Walter now that he's got his full brain back since episode 419, minus the parts that got erased to spin out the tape of the week treasure hunt. Both may end up very different to how they were at the start of the season, and I suspect will end up facing off with each other more and more as the season goes on due to Peter's desire for vengeance. But it seems the anger tantrum Walter's been having recently are signs of his old arrogant side bubbling up to express frustration. And that's a great point, something we really haven't talked about a lot this season. Don't you think, Daryl? Because we've seen Walter.
Oh, yes.
We've seen Walter throw some tantrums.
Yes.
Some anger tantrums this season. And, you know, I don't know why it just didn't register to me that he was.
It didn't either.
We haven't
with me.
seen him do that except when he's had his brain back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until he mentioned it there in the monorail, it had eluded me too for whatever reason.
That's a good point. If 5 days equals 20 years in the Pocket Universe, why don't our heroes come out at least a month or two after they went into it? Anyways, I guess many people are saying that Peter is now destined to become the first observer and that he may ultimately set into effect the chain of events that leads to occupation rather than preventing it. I hope the writers don't go that way, and rather he learns to harness the observer tech and combine it with his human side. Olivia may be the key to making sure this happens. And Daryl, as you remember, in previous seasons, Peter was needed to help Olivia kind of corral her Cortexiphan abilities. It's possible that she could do the same thing for him in his observer tech, so that's another good point.
Absolutely. Yep.
I must say, I was really hoping the portal to the Pocket Universe is going to lead into the Redverse, but somehow I don't think they're going to go there at all this season. But it would be cool if they did cross over and find the Redverse equally occupied with observers able to cross over at will. Did they ever establish if the observers in the Redverse are the same or are duplicates of the Blueverse? Thanks for the great podcast, Mark.
I think they're the same.
I think that they are the same. You know, I think what would be really interesting now that we know that Peter can kind of see the locations in the alternate universe, that he was able to cross back and forth easily with this observer tech. That would be kind of cool.
That would be very, very cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you for that email. This one comes in from Jack in the UK. Hi, guys. Seen the latest Fringe episode. Here's my feedback. For me, the episode was good overall. Firstly, it provided some good links to previous seasons as the glyphs used in all the episodes were on the doors in the Pocket Universe. I thought this was good as it shows the glyphs have been used for something, but on the other hand, it never explained their purpose. Another good point to the episode was CBK, a boy which has puzzled many Fringe fans for seasons, actually means something to the plan. My theory is that the boy was the first observer, so he is part of the plan as he knows how to destroy them for the greater good. This is why Walter was so angry when he wasn't there, as the plan is useless without him. The only problem with this episode is that they keep leaving people on their own in the lab, which I find really annoying when it's not really safe. Overall, I thought the episode was good, and it made Season 5 for me link all the other episodes or seasons of Fringe. Next, we need to find out who is Donald and how Walter created the Pocket Universe. Thanks for the podcast. Keep it fringy and don't be falling out of any holes in buildings. And that comes from Jack in the UK.
Cool.
Yeah, I liked the way they tied in. You know, they certainly didn't give any answers on the glyphs or what their significance is, but I certainly enjoyed getting them. I mentioned the Kino. It's not Kino. It was on the kayak, and that Kino was also on the kayak. I don't know what else to call that A-looking symbol that we saw on the kayak.
Yeah.
And that we also saw on the door. We also saw that a couple of episodes later. One of the guys had it as a lapel pin on his jacket.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
but we never really got back around to that.
No, we never really did.
You know, I think Joel Wyman is going back through these old episodes and trying to kind of tie up loose ends.
I think so too.
You know, I don't think that he had, you know, when they put that in there, he thought, okay, in season 5, we're going to put this on the door in a pocket universe.
No. Just something that he knew the diehards would enjoy.
Yeah, which I
But
appreciate.
I don't think that's the same thing with CBK. I think they had a larger purpose for him in mind. Now, whether or not this was the exact thing or not, I don't know. But I do think they intended to get back to him at some point.
I agree. I agree with that statement.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. This one is another one. Who's it from, Daryl?
I don't know.
Okay, this one says, is Donald actually September with hair before receiving a tech implant? That could be interesting. Anybody else hoping for this?
Yeah, I think I cut off the name on that. My apologies. I'm going to say no. What do you think? Is Donald September?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah. We'll find out. I mean, yes, it would be interesting. To answer your question, yeah, it would definitely be interesting. But I'm going to say probably not.
But that being said, it would make sense. Because we know that this is the plan that September and Walter have come up with.
Right.
Right? So who else is going to go through and know what the plan is?
Well, Donald, but we just don't know who that is. But I understand where you're going with this.
I'm just saying September would be
yeah.
the other plausible candidate from known people.
Was he in disguise so that like he had hair and stuff like that so that people wouldn't recognize him as an observer?
It's possible, but it sure didn't sound like an observer.
No.
But what this person is saying is that Donald turns into September in the future.
Right. Possibly.
Yeah.
All right, one more to read here. It's kind of a long one, but it's good. This one is coming in from Marcus. Hey, Clint and Daryl. This is Marcus from New York. First-time feedbacker, long-time listener since season 2. So thank you, Marcus, for writing in. He says, so a theory I'd like to share with you is based on the idea that Peter is not only becoming an observer, but the first observer, or the observer prime. I think this idea sheds light on the entire series, as I hope this theory will show. So here's his theory. The observers in 2036 are invaders from 2609. Have no real knowledge of their origins. Their origins are obscure to anyone not of the Calendar 12 science team, the true observers, which is why they needed them. September said pretty much just that in the End of All Things. Also, and more importantly, the changes to the timeline change the actual origins of the observers and whether they exist at all in that timeline. My prediction is that because the timeline of seasons 1 through 3 was going to not result in observers, and this was directly because of September's screw-ups, the other 11 felt that if they rewrote the timeline to where Peter died in the lake, they could save the universes and potentially find a new way to come into being. To experiment and see if it was possible without Peter, I think they had to compromise to this because for some reason September's original distraction of Walternate could not be undone, or maybe somehow the other 11 observers didn't realize it was that moment that was the significant moment that would lead or not lead to their creation. September knew, though. He knew that the real reason for their existence was the death of Peter's child in a future where his kind would invade the past, creating a loop. He knew that if it was the death of Henry, the Redverse born to Peter and Folivia, a timeline we've never seen, September intentionally changed it when he distracted Walternate. September felt that if Peter instead had a child with Olivia of the Blueverse, a woman in all timelines, had found September as a child, and that developed an empathetic bond with him, that her child, Henrietta, would change the rules to something truly unpredictable. Thus, even though in her death she may lead Peter down the same Observer Prime path, but with the Blueverse Olivia and Walter at his side, he would overcome his state and also be the cause of the invaders of the invading observers' demise. September's first new timeline, the timeline of season 1 through 3, however, did not even come close to panning out the way he wanted it to. The war between the two universes was created, and the child, Henry, was still born to the wrong Olivia. But when the timeline was rewritten, he was able to guide the anomaly Peter back to Olivia, and thus the birth of Henrietta, creating more or less what his original intended timeline was. He says, I wrote that before seeing the inner child make his return last night, but now I'm only more convinced that the child is September, and that, as I said, in all timelines he and Olivia had a bond that caused him to see humanity differently than the rest of his kind. What Walter and Donald are doing with him, I have no idea. Questions still remain as to where things go from here, like where William Bell fits in, as I do believe he and Walter are nearly as involved in the origins of the observers as Peter himself. What about Henrietta's ultimate role? I don't think she's really dead, but we'll see. They all have to somehow fit together in this plan that only grows more and more mysterious. My bet is there will be no reset. If there was, it would make that be all Fringe was never was boy. If there was, it would make that be all Fringe was ever about, based on my theory, a simple trial and error by September of timelines. That would be lame. Can we agree on that? I give last night's episode 9 bald kids only eat peppers, Walter. Keep up the great podcasting. So it's a pretty complex theory. It was difficult to read, probably even more difficult to listen to.
It was hard to follow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for that reason alone, because it seems so complicated, hard to follow, I'm going to say probably not likely, because I think the average fan needs to be able to understand what just happened at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Or the end of the series. But I certainly love the way he's thought through all of these cause and effects and what September might have been doing and his motives for doing all this stuff. And I like it. I like it a lot, but I just think it's a little too complex for the average viewer, and therefore probably not.
Yeah.
What do you think, Clay?
I think you're absolutely right. You know, I think, man, it's a good theory. It's hard to shoot holes in it.
I know, right?
It's a really comprehensive theory. I think this kind of theory exists better on paper than it does being vocalized.
Yeah.
You know, because it takes a little bit longer to digest it all.
Yeah.
But I like where he says, my prediction is that the timelines in seasons 1 through 3 was not going to result in the observers. That this was directly because of September screw up. The other 11 felt that if they rewrote the timeline where Peter died in the lake, they could save the universes and potentially find a new way to come into being. You know, I like the theory that all of this, you know, the observing of the observers is just a way to preserve time so that the observers are sure that they're going to come into being. Right?
Yeah.
If you think about time as static, which it was probably before the observers and before the bishops, right? I mean, I think we can safely say that before the bishops existed, there was no time travel. In the Fringe verse, of course.
The observers were traveling before that.
No, but they came after. I'm saying the first point in history.
Okay.
Of somebody time traveling from a time was the bishops, right?
Okay.
Where Walter said that you can, you know, with that machine that he had, you could jump not only space but in time, right? So that gave birth to that kind of technology, and of course, through the comic books, we learned what the machine did,
right?
So the observers know that time can be meddled with. So they're going to come back and make sure that they still exist in the future, and that's the observers' jobs. But September messed up, and all of this course correction has been to ensure their survival. Right?
Yes.
And that may be why they had to come back to this time. They may have had to come back to 2016 because their future had been rewritten and they had been written out of it. So they had to come back to preserve their own future.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I don't know either. And I may be stepping on a feedback that we're going to be listening to. I know we got some feedback, and I don't know if it made the show or not, that talked about when we saw, what was it that we saw at the end of season 3 when Peter went into the future? What year was that? 2026, 2025?
I think so.
So it would have been after 2016 when the observers invaded, and there was no evidence then in that timeline that the observers had invaded.
Right.
But
Peter didn't spend a whole lot of time there, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
But the war was definitely with
the Redverse. No. That had been destroyed.
It was
Moriarty, wasn't it? Is that right?
No.
Is that the guy's name?
I don't think so.
What was that guy's name? Start with an M. Anyway, I don't think observers were there in that timeline.
I don't think they were either.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marcus, thank you so much, and very well thought out theory, and definitely kudos to you for that. Well, let's get back. Moreau, thank you, Linda's Lost. Let's get back to the audios here with Chip.
Hey there, guys. It's Chip from sunny Pine Knoll Shores, North Carolina, calling about another incredible episode of Fringe. Hey, I just want to throw out the following ideas for you. Hey, excellent episode. It was one of those slow burner types, I think. They're setting things in place, getting the pieces ready to line up. I love the idea of the pocket universe. It makes me wonder if maybe there's a quick other step to try to get into the Redverse to get help if they need it. Everybody, I'm sure, is saying something about Observer Boy. Yay! After years of talk, he's finally back, and I'm thinking he's got to be important here. Question, why not take Astrid along? Why did you make her stay in the apartment? Come on, y'all, bring Astrid along next time. I liked how things were Inception-y inside of the Pocket Universe building, sliding windows. That was really cool. I love the chase. It reminded me of one of those Bugs Bunny cartoons where they're running around in different levels, different rooms, halls. Very cool. Poor Cecil. That's all I can say about that poor guy. We had some really great character moments this time, I thought. Peter and Olivia at the beginning, watching Etta and her little Emperor Star Wars 3D thing. That was really, really nice scene. Peter and Walter, of course, there at the end on the train. Walter talking about losing himself, and Peter is getting ready to lose himself. It looks like his grave mistake as it was. I'm thinking they're going to assimilate Peter, and he should not have lied to Olivia. That was a mistake. So, I got to sum it up. I have a crackpot theory. It's out there. It's a wild one. I think that Donald is September. That's it. I'm calling it. Donald is September. Let me know what you guys think. Awesome episode. Can't wait for next time. Talk to you later.
I think he's like at a diner or something there.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Can't believe he didn't invite us to eat.
Order up.
Yep. So you stepped on his theory there a minute ago when you said that September was Donald.
Well, it wasn't. No,
it wasn't your theory, was it?
No, it came out of the email.
My bad. So I guess I can't blame that on you.
Jerk.
I just try to, try to make you pay for everything. But that's another theory. That we've also had the Bell as Donald.
Yep.
It's a possibility. He liked the moments between Walter and Peter and Olivia. Did you like those? New Dana is in the chat room not liking those moments at all. New Dana and Zero Fights are definitely on the same page. I think you have some similarities with your feelings.
I would say probably betweener. I'm an in-betweener between all the wackos that gave it a 10.
It would be me. I'm with Chip on this.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
No, I like the moments.
Yeah.
I thought they were okay.
I thought they were great.
They certainly slowed the pace down. Now that we only have 7 episodes left.
Okay. Fine. You and all the other Debbie Downers just go pout in your little corner over there. Well, we listen to Chris.
Hey, Clint and Daryl and listeners of the Fringe Podcast. This is Chris from New York. I have a couple of things that I want to point out. Firstly, I agree with Clint in that I don't think that we're going to get answers regarding why the observers chose this specific time to come back to. And one thing that I'm really concerned, or not necessarily concerned, but just confused about, is we know that the observers aren't limited by time, and we know that they're not limited to timelines either. And we know that because September, for him, it's not like there was a different September that didn't remember Peter when Peter was erased from the timeline. Those observers were all the same observers that had the same memories because they weren't limited to a dimension of time or whatever like regular people would be, which means that these are probably the same observers that existed in the previous timeline, yet they didn't come back and invade 2015 previously. We know that because we saw the world of 2026 and the day we died, and the observers had not invaded in 2015 in that future. So I'm confused about that, but I don't think we're going to get answers regarding why it is that they chose this specific timeline, or this specific time, rather. I also have one other thought that I want to share. During the bullet that saved the world, I saw Edda's death coming a mile away. I did not see it before that episode. As soon as we had that scene where Peter and Edda share that really touching moment where he replaces the chain for her and he says, you know, I'll take any kind of brunt or bruise or whatever for you, kiddo, something like that, I knew she was going to die. I said, oh, I'm so worried for her, and I think I even said that in the chat room. I know I did. So I was worried, and I was right, and now I'm worried about Walter. I've kind of had my suspicions that Walter might die all season, and now that Edda's dead, I'm even more convinced because as horrible as that was, I know that that really drastically impacted a lot of us. I think that that was kind of meant to be a way of derailing us because after we took that impact, you know, a lot of us, I think, maybe thought, okay, well, that was horrible, so now we're past that. Now we can just, you know, spend the rest of the season just focusing on defeating the observers. But I don't think that, you know, we've seen the last of anyone that we care about dying. And I don't want Walter to die. I love Walter, but I see it coming. And now after we've had this episode where we've had the scene now where Peter and Walter have that discussion about, you know, Walter saying, you're the man who's helped me become who I wanted to be or become the man I am now, something along those lines, and Peter calls him Dad. I'm a little worried now. I'm really worried because the last time Peter called Walter Dad, something really bad happened afterwards. So I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think Walter's going to make it. So I just want to know what your thoughts are on that. Thanks a lot for listening. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Man, so much to say. First of all, Chris said I was right, so that's always good to get.
Second off, Chris, I'm sorry for...
and it had to be Chris, too.
I know. I hate it when I do that.
You should know better.
We get so much. I listen to it and try to get the best into the podcast, or if we get new folks, I try to kind of give them priority. I didn't know if it was one that made it to the podcast or not, and I wanted to make sure it was out there.
Chris, I apologize on Daryl's behalf.
I apologize on my own behalf. Thank you very much.
Walter dying.
Another
Yikes.
one. That's the second caller that has said that.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I hope we get Walter at least to the. If he died in the beginning of the 2-part finale,
you'd be okay.
Well, I mean, I would be upset about it.
Oh, sure.
But it would be like Wash dying.
I don't know who Wash is.
Okay.
I'm going to act like I didn't just hear that.
Or it would be like if there was this show that had all of your favorite characters from television on it and you had invested 6 years of your life in the show only to come find out that everyone was dead. That would be upsetting.
Everyone wasn't dead. But back to his point, I think that if we continue to see Walter grow more arrogant and I was going to say vile. That's not at all the right word, but you know what I mean.
Hubris.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
we all understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
If he continues down that path,
putrid.
I mean, are they going to operate on him again? Are they going to remove brain pieces again?
No,
I don't think so either. I could see him sacrificing himself. Now, whether or not that'll bring Edda back, like one of our previous callers predicted, I'm going to say probably not. But I could see Walter dying and going out as a hero and it being sad, but everyone feeling good about the way it happened.
Yeah.
But hopefully not to the finale.
I'm in for that. Yeah, but if we get it in episode 7 where he's dead,
oh man,
I might have to go out on Black Friday and get another TV because I'm pretty sure my remote will have gone through it.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, thank you, Chris, so much. Let's move on to Corey.
Hey, Clint and Daryl. Corey from Australia. Calling in some feedback for the new episode of Fringe, Through the Looking Glass and what Walter saw there. Really crazy episode tonight. There's the pocket universe that Walter created. I called in some feedback last week, but I guess maybe I screwed up the email or something. You guys didn't get it. But I was talking about the space between universes, which is dark matter space, as seen in the Beyond the Fringe comic book, issue 1B, which was called Imagine If Peter Didn't Die. He talks about the space between universes. I thought maybe that could be a space where the observers came from, because when they opened the corridor to the future, you couldn't see the other side like we're seeing with other doorways that have been open. It was just black. So I just thought that, we've always just taken September at his word, that's where he's, he says he's from the future. Maybe he's from, a space between universes. That's why they can travel around wherever they want, in any universe, because maybe they're technically from both sides. A place where universes collide, where, physics and math, don't make sense. It's like Walter said in tonight's episode, there are places out there where 2 and 2 don't equal 4. And that's why he was able to create this pocket universe in there to hide things. I also don't think it's a coincidence that they hid the little observer boy in there, which I think tonight we got confirmation that he is an observer. But he's not there now, so maybe he left and became September. I'm sure we're going to find out. I'm very excited to get the answer to that. I really had to say it, but I also liked that something happened to Astrid this week. They leave her alone, and the observers show up, and she gets a bit of a smackdown there. I know you guys have been saying over the last few weeks that they always seem to leave Astrid behind and nothing happens to her. So, it was harsh that she got smacked in the face, but at least something happened when they left her behind. I really wish she was doing more in the episodes. Anyway, that's all from me this week. I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.
All right.
That was good feedback. I don't think I'm glad that something bad happened to Astrid, but
no, I'm not.
There
either.
are consequences, and our team needs to realize it, right?
That's exactly it, right? I mean, they've been leaving her alone for all these weeks. We've been griping about it.
Yep.
And so now they leave her alone. She gets smacked around. But will this be the last time we see her left alone? I don't think so.
No, I think you're right. And, I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that we're not going to get a Astrid coming in to save the day.
No.
Astrid taking over the island as the new Jacob.
Are we going to reach a point? We just talked about Walter dying. Are we going to reach a point in the season where characters like Astrid do die? Are some of our main characters that we've seen from since the beginning, are even Broyles and Nina, are they expendable as this season goes on?
I would say for sure Broyles and Nina.
Yeah.
I don't know what killing Astrid buys you from a plot standpoint. Peter's already mad. He's already out for vengeance, right? Yeah. You're not going to drive that. I think Walter's already upset enough. Killing off Astrid doesn't really do anything for you.
No, I agree. Other than it might be so that another one of our characters doesn't die. She sacrifices herself, or is what I mean? Is dies in place of somebody else.
It's possible.
But then what does it give you still?
Yeah, right. It's like killing off a fan favorite. I'm thinking of another show that did that in the movie after the 14 episodes.
Golly.
And they haven't stopped hearing the end of it.
No, they haven't. And that's the thing, because what you do then is if you do want to do more creative projects, that character is gone.
It's gone.
Or if you go back in time, the demise of that character.
Right.
and which there's hope that there will be a Fringe movie one of these days. So I'm with you. I hope.
And
hope not.
how are you going to have Farnsworth PI?
Right, exactly.
Without Farnsworth.
It's not possible.
That's right.
All right, just a couple more here. This one comes in from Joseph.
Hi, this is Joseph from Las Vegas. This is my first time sending a feedback. I just finished watching tonight's new episode, Due to Looking Glass. Just wow. I don't know if it's just each time the episodes are nearing to the series finale that the episodes have been getting really, really good. I'm just lost for words, really. It's everything about the episode, the pocket universe, and then having the videotape work in the pocket universe, and seeing the bald boy that in the last feedback episode, some theories were popping up saying, could it be September when he was little? And I remember, I believe someone made a theory that what if Peter and Olivia could be the Adam and Eve for the creation of the observers, and I want to have my thoughts on that, thinking that what if their newborn for the observers is actually September, just a crackpot theory, because when he was first introduced, Olivia reminded us in this episode that there was a moment that the little boy, had some telepathy powers or some sort to communicate through Olivia to find the killer in, I forgot what episode, but So I was just wondering, maybe the reason for that connection is the possibility that September's mom is actually Olivia and Peter. I know it could be one of those crackpot theories, but you guys are doing great podcasts. I love Fringe. I started watching Fringe ever since the second season from my friend, but then I eventually had to watch the first season and onward, and I just discovered you guys after as season 4 was going on, and it's going to be pretty sad not hearing you guys talk about Fringe as often as I would have liked it, but other than that, I hope to hear more from you and hope this feedback gets to the episode. So thanks. Bye.
All right.
September's mom has got it going on. Got Cortex a fan. And Peter's in the van. I don't know. I got nothing.
That's where he came from. Hey, Olivia, you want to take a ride in my van? I don't know. I mean, are Peter and Olivia the parents of the observers? I think anything's possible at this point. If Peter is the origin of the observers, but not an observer, then perhaps their offspring is an observer. I think anything's possible. But I would say probably not, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this.
Who knows?
Yeah. I've got an idea. And then Joseph inspired it. The boy from Inner Child that we saw again in this episode, we always wondered, how did he get down there in that construction site?
Now, are we sure it's the same boy, or is it another observer? Did we get the confirmation that it's the exact same boy, or just a boy observer?
The way they worded it in the episode, it's obviously a different actor. I mean,
yeah, right.
They weren't able to get the same actor because of age.
Because he's 5 years older.
Yeah, but no, same child. But where did he come from? How did he get there? I say that he was zapped there when he was erased from a timeline.
All right, this next call comes in from Kira.
Come on, you're not going to give that any thought whatsoever?
Let's hear what Kira has to say.
I think you'll enjoy what Kira has to say, actually.
Hey, Fringies, it's Kira, a.k.a. Penny in Miami. I'm just calling back to leave my feedback for the last episode. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little disappointed in Fringe this week. I know I rated it a high Bunsen burner, and I think the only thing that saved it for me was the last few moments, the last scene with Peter and Walter, that very touching moment that I really think that Peter is definitely going in the wrong direction. And I liked seeing the inner child. I really still think that it's September somehow, even though they're calling him Donald. What really disappointed me this week was the addition of Caesar. I know some people in the chat said that, you know, he was there just to show time passing, how it passes differently in the Wonderland verse. But I thought that the writers could have done a better job of pointing that out to us through either different dialogue or showing a scene where things are different. I just think that adding a person, Caesar, just to kill him off to make a point, I think is wrong. You know, his name might as well have been Clint, for that matter. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I was kind of disappointed about that. I think that they need to stop doing that, you know, adding people and then just killing them off, because there's no emotion tied to that. Oh, so he died. What was the point? There's no, I don't know, he just didn't feel like he had a real point to me. There was no connection to him whatsoever. I didn't feel bad that he died, and I think if you're going to add people and kill them, you need to have something attached to it. Anyway, I'm going to miss you guys, and I see you guys on Friday in another life.
All right.
See you in another life, Penny.
So where do you want to start with that, Clint?
How about we start with Caesar?
You mean Cecil? Or is it Clint?
What did I call Cecil?
You called
Curtis or something?
Curtis, I think is what you called him, yes.
He's quickly becoming our Astrid.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
That's funny.
Yeah, she definitely pulled a Walter the entire feedback there on Cecil.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. But she also said that Donald was the boy, and Donald and the boy and Walter were all on that tape. That Donald and the boy were separate.
It is a parallel universe, which 2 and 2 plus 5 don't equal 3.
Apparently. But she also theorized that the boy is September. That's the popular theory today, that the boy is September.
Yep.
That's our theory too, or my
Your theory.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to lump you into my crazy.
That's
theories.
right. I don't want to be wrong.
All right. Well,
thank you,
Penny,
for the feedback,
for sending that in, and I love the comment about Clint. That
of course,
made it
anytime.
so worthwhile.
Let me tell you something. If you make fun of me, or say that I'm wrong,
exactly,
it's going to get included in the feedback.
We had 3 of those today. Did you guys notice that? Or 1 in this podcast, 2 in the previous.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you guys. A lot of feedback. I know we put more in this week than we typically do. We probably won't do that every week, but I just wanted to get it in there and just thank you guys for sending that in. You ready for Twinge?
Absolutely.
All right.
You can't sing over it.
I just did.
All right.
It's my podcast.
It is your podcast, and you'll cry if you want to.
That's right.
All right. This week's Twinge poll question was hard.
Which that's not to say it's not your podcast, too. I'm just saying.
Can I get on with the segment?
Yes.
The question was, how does CBK or Creepy Bald Kid fit into the solution?
It's a fantastic question.
Thank you. I came up with it on myself. Dana Fringe, new Dana, in the chat, says, as a contrived, pathetic attempt to throw previous season callbacks to fans so they overlook how bad the episode was.
I saw that. I disagree completely.
That's funny.
That's fine. That's fine.
Jack Pierre Point says CBK was the first observer and knows how to defeat them. That is why Walter was so angry that the plan is now useless. E. Gately says, whose my name is Earl in the chat, says, I believe CBK will put some M&Ms in exactly the right order and reboot the universe.
That's funny.
Not.
Odd thing to point out, though. Walter gave him M&Ms in that video. But
Did he?
Walter said that he didn't have any memory of him.
Huh.
Yeah. Or of the previous case with him, anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't now.
Right. I think he had worked the case before.
Okay. Chip Mims known as Cinewolf23 on Twitter, says CBK can reach, quote, our observers and get them back to help defeat the invaders. I do kind of wonder what happened to December and January.
August.
In August. Well, we know what happened in August.
Yes.
Jen RN 1970 says, I think the younger version of September, i.e. September hiding in plain sight to the other observers, therefore he knows the plan. At of Pi, which has put his name as He'd Obey Serve of Pi, says, in every generation there is a chosen one. He alone will stand against the observers, the shapeshifters, and the forces of darkness.
Nice.
He is the CBK. Devin H says CBK definitely fits into the plan. Something to do with time travel in September. Beyond that, I have no clue. You, spelled like a sheep, belong with me. Says, like others, I hope it turns out to be September from some point in the timeline. I miss Cerberus like the deserts miss the rain.
Nice.
And I miss you.
I miss him too.
The deserts miss the rain.
What song is that?
Deserts Miss the Rain.
Who sings that?
I don't know.
I'd like to hear their version.
Might
be enjoyable.
Sparking Va says CPK is able to teleport and take others with him. As such, you'll be able to take the machine to the Baldies.
Okay.
EHDZ88 says CBK September's offspring sent back to stop the Observer invasion. Verbank says CBK equals creepy bald kid, because otherwise I got cute baby kangaroo, cuts boringly knife, color bold kite.
Nice. That's so good.
P.S. He's September.
Okay.
Kyle Moyer says his high metachlorian count will bring balance to the universe.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Patty TWG says, I like the theory CBK September as a boy and helps Walter and the team from the inside. And Peter is his father.
What? Dun, dun, dun.
Tony Caselli says, Windmark discovers the Colonel's 811 herbs and spices. Goes back in time to stop. Oh, wait. That's KFC, not CBK.
That's awesome. Nice job.
Chicken. Zero Fights says CBK is the son of Widmark, and he will be held hostage. Lemon Eye says CBK is an empath, not an observer. The plan is to use CBK to amplify human emotion to defeat the observers with the power of love.
I like that theory.
That's a good point that he was an empath, right?
Yes, but I feel like they confirmed that he's an observer because of the oxygen deprivation thing.
Maybe they're related. Maybe, here's a theory. Maybe as children, the observers are empaths. But by the time they become adults, they've grown out of all of their emotion, and so they see emotions as juvenile.
That's an interesting comment right there.
Thank you. You guys are getting my A game today. All right, the 24-karat Jimmy says CBK is Peter. This is what happens when you stick tech from the future into your spinal column. So apparently he grows into a 12-year-old boy. I'm a real boy. Captain Trips 42 says he is Widmark's secret love child, and the team will reveal this to the press, and he will be forced to resign in shame.
Nice.
Also, Widmark is General No, that's not in there. Sorry.
Oh.
All right. And finally, Zeppelin Driver says CBK is actually September. Come on. The resemblance is startling.
Yes. All that not hair.
And that is it for this week's Twinge segment.
Good
if you'd
stuff.
like to participate in our Twinge segment, you can follow us on Twitter at GSM Podcasts. That usually goes out Saturday afternoon-ish Central Time.
Yep.
What else? Well,
the rest of the contact info.
Yeah, let's do contact info. So if you want to call us on the telephone, like you used to do in the 1980s, you can pick up your phone and then twirl it around to the 1, and then 3, and then 0, because the zeros take longer.
That's right.
304-837-2278. That's 304-TFP-CAST.
Right.
It is available for your calling in pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
365.25 days a year.
Yes. Nice.
You can also find us on our website. You can contact us on our website at using
an internet browser.
Smoking pipes. What's it called?
Speak pipe.
Speech pipe.
Smoking pipes.
Using SpeakPipe. It's on the right-hand side of our website. You can email us feedback at thefringepodcast.com, preferably audio.
Yes.
You have a higher likelihood of making it in, but sometimes if you send a really long text-based feedback and Daryl's feeling equally sadistic or masochistic, he'll include it. What else, Daryl? They can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Golden Spiral Media or SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Golden Spiral Media. That is it for our contact information. Daryl, tell them what they're going to win.
They're going to win. I don't know what they're going to win. They're going to win an appearance on our show.
Contest.
On the contest?
Yeah.
Oh, on the contest.
Yes.
That's already wrapped up?
Yes.
Tell them what they're going to win?
Just tell them that was supposed to be my hint at remind them that we are going over the contest.
I'm not catching your segues today, man. Yeah, the contest is going to be announced in the next episode. Episode 14 of the Fringe Podcast.
That's
so
correct.
Stay tuned for that.
It is closed.
It is closed. It's over. We'll announce the winners next week.
We've got some great prizes sponsored by our good friends at Global Cash Card.
That's right.
And we're very appreciative to them and all of our listeners who support us. If you would like to be one of those listeners who doesn't just take, we'd love for you to go to our support page at thefringepodcast.com/support. We've got affiliate links for lots of popular sites, including Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Daryl's BakedCookies.com.
What?
I don't know.
Lots of stuff over there. So go check it out.
So go check that out.
All the support opportunities are over there. I wanted to remind you, too, the poll is up over on the website, over in the sidebar, if you're going to be coming to our Fringe finale party here in Oklahoma City on January the 18th. We've got about 40 people signed up so far, which is pretty cool. We're expecting 20 maybe here locally to show up, so that puts the party at around 60.
Right now.
Right now. And
but I'm expecting hundreds.
If it's hundreds, then we might need to find a new venue.
That's true.
We're looking for a venue that'll seat around 100, so I think we're doing okay on that. So, but if you're going to come, go over there and vote, so we'll know to make sure we're getting a facility that is appropriately sized.
That's right.
Because size does matter in this case, Fringe fans.
Botched that one, Daryl.
I did.
You botched it.
I did. Anything else, Clint?
I think that is it until next week. So until next time,
stay Fringe-tastic.
And keep it nerdy.
The Fringe Podcast and Golden Spiral Media are not associated with Bad Robot Productions, Warner Brothers, or Fox. Golden Spiral Media's use of any and all copyrighted material is only for parody, news analysis, critique, or educational purposes as provided within United States Code Title 17, aka Fair Use. For advertising opportunities, our live show, and other Golden Spiral Media podcast productions, visit goldenspiralmedia.com. Copyright 2012, Golden Spiral Media. We have some exciting news to share. Daryl has been selected to speak at New Media Expo, formerly Blog World. Taking place in Las Vegas on January 6th through the 8th, 2013, New Media Expo is the world's largest and only industry-wide conference, trade show, and media event for bloggers, podcasters, social media networkers, online communities, internet radio and TV broadcasters, and every type of new media user and content creator. This is where independent content creators, journalists, marketers, internet entrepreneurs, and the world's largest corporations learn about the newest online communication technology, tools, and methods from innovators and industry leaders. Past events have offered more than 100 educational sessions with amazing speakers, including Guy Kawasaki, Mark Cuban, Steve Rebell, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss, Chris Brogan, Paula Berg, and dozens of A-list bloggers and podcasters, award-winning journalists, Fortune 500 executives, and world-renowned online marketers. There is a wide selection of topics ranging from building an audience and community, basic and advanced blogging and podcasting, audio and video tools and techniques, web TV and internet radio broadcasting, monetizing content, social media marketing, how to effectively engage bloggers, and maximizing new media in your business marketing mix. I will be leading a session on tips for fan podcasters, joined by Lost podcasters Jay and Jack Glatfelter and Jason Kabasi from the Walking Dead cast. We will discuss how to choose the right show, how to build a community around your podcast, how to promote your podcast, how to build a relationship with a TV network, and how to properly conduct interviews. Check out all the amazing content offered at New Media Expo and book your ticket today by visiting goldenspiralmedia.com/New Media Expo. I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas, January 6th through the 8th.